So last week we did a video on the old Nikon f4's 70 to 210 lens. Welcome to Medellin. Okay. So anyway, we're gonna do a video on how to use this thing. And a lot of people are like, well, it's an f4, I can't get that shallow depth of field. So that's what we're gonna cover, is how you can get that shallow depth of field by using an f4 lens. Getting that really shallow depth of field is the closer that you are to a subject, the shallower the depth of field that you're going to have. One thing also the shallow depth of field is the longer the lens is. So if we're shooting at that 210, really close up, the background's just going to be completely blown out. Also, the longer the lens, so if we're zoomed all the way out to 210 millimeters, we're also going to get a more shallow depth of field. Which aperture you're using. The wider the aperture, the more shallow depth of field you're going to have. This little baby goes to f32, so obviously f32 is going to be more like infinity, where shooting at f4, this giant wide aperture, you're going to get that really, really beautiful shallow depth of field. You are tonight. With this lens, you can get really, really close, closer than any other Nikon telephoto lens. I think it's around 3.7 feet, which is really, really awesome, so that helps as well. The longer the lens, 70 to 210, so if I'm shooting at 710, boom, man, you're gonna get this beautiful blown out background. Quick tip, if you are shooting at 210, you need to make sure that your shutter speed's fast enough. Typically, if your focal length is 200 millimeters, your shutter speed needs to be no less than 200, as a general rule of thumb, to avoid any kind of camera shake, any motion blur. And how do you adjust for that? Just bumping up the ISO until you find that sweet spot. So again, really, really close, long lens, make sure you're adjusting your ISO to get the fast enough shutter speed that you need. That's pretty much it. Alright, so now you got your boots, and you got your 70 to 210 lens, f4. Time to take some good photos, get that real good shallow depth of field. Get that shallow depth of field, a couple of things. I know a lot of you saying, well, my f2.8 got that extra stop. Well, this f4 is mighty fine. Get real close, right? More shallow depth of field you're gonna get, especially when at f4. What's neat about this lens is it focuses closer than any other Nikon telephoto lens. So 3.5 feet, baby, you got some shallow depth of field. f4, right? Get real close, zoom all the way out, 210, even more shallow depth of field. I'm talking blown out background for days. So, wide aperture, good long lens, really up close, beautiful, baby. One other thing, when you're shooting at that 210, 200 millimeters, got a rock in my boot. You need to make sure your shutter speed's fast enough. So I recommend, whatever your focal length, nice Porsche here in Colombia, whatever your focal length is, 200, make sure that your shutter speed is no slower than that focal length. So 200 millimeter, make sure you got 200 of a second. Make sure you don't get any motion blur or camera shake. That's pretty much it. Lighten up and shoot style.